Hello. So, we're going to talk about tying some knots today. Before we can really get into that though, we probably just got to talk a little bit about terminology. So we're at least all speaking roughly the same language, because there's a lot of words out there that people use when describing knots. So I'm just going to try to standardize what I say so you can better follow along. To start with, I'm just using a piece of 7mm accessory cord. It's just nylon Kerr construction, so nothing fancy. I just like it because it feels good and I can tie good knots with it. So starting, first thing we're going to talk about is the running end. So that tends to be the end that I'm working with. Whatever I may be tying my knot with or doing a majority of the work with, that will be the running end. The standing end is the rest of that rope. Next term we're going to talk about is a bight, which is just the bend in the rope, right? It doesn't cross itself, right? And kind of paired up to that is a double bight, which is a large bight that's bent in half again. So far, very, very simple, right, guys? Next term we're going to talk about here is a loop, and there are two kinds of loops. There's an overhand loop. You can see here this is an overhand loop because the running end crosses over the standing end. And if I was to flip it, this would be a underhand loop because the standing end is on top. It's very simple, right? Awesome. The next couple things we got to talk about here is the overhand. So just technically this is the first knot, but we'll use this as a safety knot. To do that, take the running end, I cross over the standing end, so I create that overhand loop. Then I bring it back through and tighten it down. This is often, granny knot. This is called an overhand knot, and you can tell it's a correct overhand by the fact that it kind of looks like a pretzel. And that leads us to kind of the final term we're going to talk about here. And that's the pigtail. So that's the amount of rope remaining. All right, so I like to go with roughly no less than 4 inches, no more than 6. Because again, if I go longer than 6 inches, I'm really wasting the rope. It's rope I can't use, and in some of these knots, I may need that. So I like 4 to 6 inches, right? And that's that pigtail. That's just there as the knots stress down. They tend to creep a little bit, and that'll make sure that everything's safe. So we'll just go over those one more time. Running end. End of the rope I'm working with, standing ends, the rest. Bight, it's a bend in the rope that doesn't cross itself. Double bight, it's a 4 total ropes, so a large bight that I bent in half. Overhand loop, where the running end's on top of the standing end. And then underhand loop. Standing end is on top of the running end. Overhand knot. And then the pigtail, 4 to 6 inches long. And that's the general terms. As we progress in this, we'll cover appropriate terms as necessary, but those are the general terms you'll need to know.